All praises to Yahweh Basham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on all the people that say you shouldn't be talking about Esau, that's not important for the doctrine. And I'm just going to say this, I'm going to say a lot of things, man. Because there used to be a time where people said that we have the curse of Ham, right? And nobody ever came and said when they had that belief that so-called African Americans and all of that were under the curse of Ham. No one ever said that's not necessary for the doctrine before. No one ever said that it's not necessary to try and paint the Messiah as looking like a so-called white man in order to push the doctrine. Nobody ever said that, but they say it to Israelites though. When Israelites show an image of the Messiah looking like a so-called black man, what does color matter? But when Esau makes a movie, right, and people end up getting paid wages for being in the movie, then it's just a depiction. Okay, well then the image of the movie being dark skinned like we are is also just a depiction too, based on Bible verses. What's your depiction based on? Oh well, the people living in the land right now. Okay, but according to Ezekiel 36, which leads into what I'm talking to, according to Ezekiel 36, the Edomites were going to take control over the land of Israel, and I'm gonna show it. Right, which is Christians don't do this. They don't say things and then just show them like this, man. Like they go out and they run their mouth for 25 minutes and then say like, oh, it says it in the book, and then if you ask them where, they ain't gonna know. Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 1. Also, thou son of man, prophesy unto the mountains of Israel and say, ye mountains of Israel, hear the word of Yahweh. And this is talking to literally referring to the land of Israel when you really read Ezekiel 36, man. Thus saith Yahweh, because the enemy have said against you, even the ancient high places are ours in possession. Now, who took control over the ancient high places? Well, the enemy. And it goes on in the scriptures to explain who the enemy is, and I'm going to read it. Therefore prophesy and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because they have made you desolate and swallowed you up on every side. And this is talking about the land, that they might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and you are taken, and he's talking about the land being a possession to the residue of the heathen, right? The Edomites get the most, and then every other heathen gets a bit of their share as well, man, of our land, Like, you gotta understand right now, brothers, right now, yeah, you might be struggling to pay rent, or you might be comfortably paying rent, right? But you're supposed to have a house on your land somewhere in the land of Israel, where you can do what you want to do on there. And the land would allow you to grow crops and all kind of things, have cows, sheep, cats, dogs running around, your children having space to run around on your land. And we ain't supposed to be paying no rent and worrying about no bills. Because we got land in our land of Israel, man. When we get the kingdom, we're going to have a house on said land. And all other kind of things on that land too. But right now, some dirty, stinking heathens over there pretending to be us. And then you've got people that are supposedly meant to be Israelites saying, you don't need to talk about Jacob and Esau. Well, the Bible's got prophecies concerning Jacob and Esau. So obviously you do need to talk about him, because if there's a prophecy concerning somebody, well then who is that? How will we know if that prophecy is coming to pass if we don't identify who those people or who that person is? There's a prophecy in the Bible concerning Cyrus, right? If there was never nobody that announced their name as being Cyrus, well, you wouldn't have known that it was them then. When Yahweh Shai comes, he's going to reveal his name to the world too, when he shows himself to the world, man. That you might be a possession unto the residue of the heathen, and you are taken up in the lips of talkers, and are the infamy of the people. And every single time when the land of Israel comes up, it's always bad news these days right now. Anytime you ever hear anything about Israel, Gaza, anything, it's always some kind of problems, man. But in the kingdom, it's not going to be like that once the true inhabitants are in place. The conversation about the land of Israel is so egregious right now that the anti-this, anti-that things always are based around it, man. Verse 4, therefore, you mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, to the mountains and to the hills. This is to the land, to the rivers and to the valleys, to the desolate wastes, and to the cities that are forsaken, which shall become a prey and a derision unto the residue of the heathen that are round about. Meaning, the Lord's making a prophecy concerning the places that we're going to be living one day, man. Right? That are right now being inhabited by filthy heathens that are living against the laws of Yahweh. Right? Therefore, thus saith verse 5, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea. Now, who's Idumea? Because it says the residue of the heathen, but it's very specific to mention one heathen nation of Idumea. Who are they? Who are they? Because people saying, oh, you don't need to talk about Esau, you just need to teach the gospel. Ezekiel 36 is part of the gospel. It's all part of the gospel, man. When you go to Luke, which I'll go to it. When you go to Luke 4, which is a good place that you can use to explain what the gospel is, right? Well, who are you under oppression by? Because it says to become. Let me read it. Let me read it, man. Luke chapter 4 and verse 18. The Spirit of Yahweh is upon me, because He have anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He have sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives. Who are the captives? And who are they captives underneath? And recovery of sight to the blind. Who are the blind? And what is it that they need to see? They're blind. The blind are you so-called black people, Latinos and Native Americans. And the thing that you need to see is that you're actually an Israelite. You're not a Gentile. To set at liberty them that are bruised. Who's the bruised, man? We are. And who was we bruised by? Who's the poor? We are. And why are we poor? And who's got our riches? Who's got our riches, man? People talk about pocket watch, mate. We're pocket watching. Because a lot of you heathen are rich based off us. You've became rich based off our possessions, man. And when you go into the book of Lamentations, it speaks about how we're being sold our own water. We're being sold our own this. We're being sold our own that. Native Americans, this was literally their land. And now they've been given a reservation on it. Ain't you Native Americans angry about that? Ain't you bothered about that? And the Latinos and Mexican, them too. Esau brought our forefathers here in hardcore slavery, and they got the nerve to say, go back to Africa. But they came over here. This is not their land even. But they're talking about some go back to Africa when we're not even African anyway. We're Israelites. But they're trying to steal a portion of, America's trying to take a portion of our land for themselves again. So they stole America from the Israelites, which is what you Native Americans are, by the way, in case you didn't know. The reason why all them horrible things happened to you is because it was a result of the curses for you breaking the law, statute, commandments of your Heavenly Father, Yahweh. And you trying to run away from your connection to so-called black people, don't stop your connection to Jacob. You can try and deny all you want. We're not connected to so-called black people at all. They're not even close to being our brother. When we are, we're Israelites just like how you are, right? But you can't try and run away from your connection to Israel, to Jacob, because you're under the curses. You're connected to him through that, man. Whether you want to pretend like you ain't an Israelite or not, it don't stop the curses chasing you all over the world. It didn't stop the curses chasing you from when you left under the Assyrian captivity and chasing you all the way over to the Americas where no man had dwelt before and lived, meaning lived there, right? And it chased you over there. And the curses followed you. An enemy came over there speaking a language that you don't know, and they got you. And they brought your brothers over there too. The rest of the 12 tribes, man. So that you could all dwell in one place. So that Judah and Israel were both oppressed together, like the scriptures say they was going to go through, man. And just like they was oppressed together, they're going to be delivered together as well, man. And all you Native Americans that you want to try and make out like that's not true, well, keep playing around, man. More's coming your way. More judgments are coming your way till you're going to be forced to recognize you're an Israelite. Same thing for you Native Americans. Same thing for you so-called black people. Same thing for all of you confused in the face Israelites too. The ones that can't prove your lineage is connected to so-called black people, Latinos and Native Americans, and the ones of you that can, but you don't see that there's a benefit to claim that your heritage goes back to so-called black people right now. So you try and be like, oh, nah, I'm not going to talk about that. I'm just going to try and play like I'm a heathen, the curses still follow you as well. And you had this recent guy, Steven Tyler, I believe that's his name, the lead singer of Aerosmith, and he found out that his ancestry goes back to so-called black people, and he said, I knew it, and he thanked God. He said, I knew it, and said, praise God. That's the spirit that everyone's going to be hoping for soon, man, when they realize that we're the Israelites. We ain't black. We ain't none of these lies that people told us. I'm getting annoyed by this to the point where I almost forgot what this lesson was supposed to be about, man. I forgot what scripture I was just reading even before I went to Luke 4, man. I don't even remember. Oh, I remember now. The topic of Esau, man. About how people are saying, oh, you don't need to talk about Esau. How can you say, 1 second. How can you say out of your mouth you're not supposed to talk about Esau when there's prophecies concerning him? There's literally prophecies concerning Israel. I mean, concerning Israel in relation to Edom. This is one of them again. Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. They want to cast out the land of Israel for a prey and try and turn Israel, the land of Israel, into some like freaky Dubai, Miami, Los Angeles kind of place. That's what they really want to do, man. They want to turn that into a place where it emulates nothing to do with the scriptures anymore, and where it's just all about some new age Edomite ways of living. That's what they want to do. Didn't you see the AI thing that DJT made? That video on that New Gaza or whatever it was called. That video was crazy as hell. But that's what they want to do. They want to try and turn the land of Israel to somewhere like Miami to like a party town, really, if they could get away with it, man. That's what they really want to do. Just like how back in the day, when you read the story of the Maccabees, man. And I'm going to go to that scripture, in fact. When you read the story of Maccabees, they was able to get certain Israelites, right, to cast out the laws of our forefathers and just love up the ways of the Greeks, man. That's what they want to do to land of Israel again. 2 Maccabees chapter 4 and verse 7. But after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onias, labored on the hand to be high priest. And there's been people that was trying to labor on the hand to become a high priest in this modern time too. So who knows, man? We know reincarnation exists. Who knows? Promising unto the king by intercession 303 score talents of silver. That's mad, you know. Because I'm pretty sure when that particular guy, when he was boasting and showing all the money that he was making, I'm pretty sure in a year he made around 330,000 in American. I'm pretty sure it was around 330 or something like that, 300 or something that he was making, man. I'm pretty sure he was saying he was making 30 a month. In fact, that he was making 30 a month, which would be 360, right? Man, I ain't trying to say that's what it is, but that's mad though anyway. Another revenue, 80 talents. Beside this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set him up a place for exercise and for the training up of the youth in the fashions of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of the Antiochian. So he was down to try and turn Israelites into heathens, man. He wanted to be given authority by a heathen to make the Israelites follow the ways of the heathen. How much of a wicked Israelite can you become? And to be given a spirit of a betrayer Israelite, man, is the worst thing that you can have. Like a false prophet, right, is worse, in my opinion, than like a 2/3 hood dude or something like that that's selling things in his community. A person that's actually picking up the Bible and trying to read it, knows what the truth is, but decide to say, nah, forget that, I'm going to say something else instead. That's worse. That's worse, man. Because you know what the truth is and you're still choosing to lie. So you're accepting that you're an Israelite and that an Edomite, how is an Edomite, how are you going to make an Edomite come up to you, yeah? How are you going to make an Edomite come up to you and say, you know what? Change the doctrine, and we can't be having no more doctrine of the Edomites being white people in this doctrine anymore. So you need to come up with a way to change it, to try and lure them off the scent and make them think that Edomites are black people. Huh? What are you talking about, man? If someone comes up to you and ever says that, well, they've basically just told you that the doctrine that you're teaching is true. So you should teach even harder what you was already saying. If someone comes up to you behind the scenes like, oh, you know this Yahweh Shai thing that you're saying in this doctrine, you need to take that out of the doctrine and just start teaching that the name don't matter. Why? Why do you want me to teach that? Well, they're confirming by coming up to you that what you believe is true. And here's another thing I want to say, man. Somebody thinking you might be an agent, yeah, is not the same as actually being one. It would be better for every single Israelite that you've ever interacted with to think, oh, this guy's an agent, than you to actually be one. To actually be one, you're a demon. For people to think you could be one, that's a whole nother story. A paranoia thing that's going to be going on forever until the kingdom of heaven, that's going to be happening, right? But to actually be an agent, though, and to sell out to your own people, you're a demon. And you should cry every single time when you go to sleep, man. You shouldn't even be able to look in a mirror if you're an agent. How can you even look at yourself, man? How? How can you let someone come up to you and tell you, oh, don't teach that Esau is the white, pretend and say that it was black people with red hair, or whatever the hell you people come up with, man? How have you let someone come up to you and say that? How lost can you be in life? Like, how much of a sellout do you want to be in life, man? Somebody thinking you're bad is not the same as being it, because Joseph's brothers thought he was bad, right? They thought he was being bad to them. Oh, he's trying to show off. He thinks he's better than us. Let's cast him away. And they cast him away. But it was for their own benefit. Yahweh used them to bring about their own benefit. Because had they not have cast him away, there wouldn't have been no one in the land of Egypt of a high position to bring forth our people out of a famine that was going on across the world. But it was also done for another reason, to bring us into the land that we was going to face, the captivity that Abraham was told that his descendants was going to face. But it also saved our life too from that famine. But when you're reading about this Israelite in here, man, he literally was down to just sell his own people out like that, man. And that's what some people are doing now. Let's carry on reading this. Verse 11. No, verse 10. Which when the king had granted, and he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion. So he started changing his own people's ways to make them follow after what the heathen do. A complete sellout, man. And the royal privileges granted of special favour to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Epolomius, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid, he took away. So he took away privileges that Israelites was having and putting down the governments which were according to the law. He brought up new customs against the law. So back in them time, we had governments that was helping make sure we keep the laws. But this demon was like, nah, bun those things. We're going to set up some governments to bring in some new wicked customs. This was an Israelite that did this. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this was an Israelite that did this, man. Someone that wanted to be high priest. So being high priest, even if you are a bit high priest, that don't mean nothing. Even if everyone's to actually say, you know what, man, he is the high priest. Mate, men can be wrong. Men can be wrong, mate. Because this man was the high priest. But look what he was doing. Straight demon mode. Making Jake go and try and join up with the ancient gym fashions, man. You know what was happening in the ancient gyms? Gymnos. Everyone was naked off. Back in the ancient gyms, man. That was the way how it was. And he would have been setting up all kind of things back then, man. He took away the governments to keep the law and made ones to not keep it. But people want to say don't talk about Esau. Esau's doing the same thing now. He did it back then, and he's doing the same thing now. Trying to set up certain Israelites to try and take us away from what we're supposed to do. Oh, the law's done away with. Doesn't it seem a trend? Like back in the day, any brother that's over here in the UK, right, in the United Kingdom will know this when it comes to the music industry. Anytime there's any UK musician, they always had to go and see some guy that looks like an Edomite called Tim Westwood, right? Every single time, right? They always had to see him. They always had to go for him. And they would always be on Tim Westwood, and he'd say every single Jake rapper in the UK was always Tim Westwood's main man. Oh, I'm here with my main man. Yo, fat, yo, spin that track, brother. Yes, brother. He'd be on that, right? He's gone and faded off into the distance somewhere. Who knows what the hell happened to him? He had a scandal or two. He's faded off into the distance somewhere now, right? But everyone used to always have to go for him. And it seems in this day, with every single scoffer, they always have to go to a certain Malone character. Every single scoffer always finds themselves somehow on this guy's channel, man. Always. They all seem to find themselves on there somehow, man. Because he's their ringleader. He's their ringleader, man. The guy's a demon. How are you going to travel to other countries to scoff? And try and come from wherever you are in America to London to try and find men that are not necessarily in a small area, but they're not in like a big area that you know to find them. Because if there wasn't a place where you could have easily found them, you wouldn't have asked for no permission. You wouldn't have said, oh, I know that you've put a law that kind of been a roll out by GMS now to just call the cops on me because I'm such a demon. But if you don't mind, I really truly want to understand the doctrine, and I know where you are and I know I could get there. But is it okay if I come and speak to you guys? No, you would have just showed up if you could have found them easily, you demon. You would have showed up scoffing with that stupid proud look on your face, with them dark ass, extra tinted shades, man. Being a demon that you are. With your pride in your face, man, and your pride in your voice, trying to stir up men to try and get angry and all that, man, you demon. And a lot of these scoffers are really pushing even when you hear what the AI says, man, about the Hebrew Israelite thing, the AI sounds like him. and that's why brothers have said that AI stands for, I jokingly said, AI stands for artificial Idumea. It does. It is an artificial Edomite. It's the AI talking about concerning the Israelite. I remember there was one video, man, where one of the elders, like, they was going into all the different camps, yeah? They was breaking down all the different camps, and then they even had a put about Apostle Tahar in there. I was like, I was just thinking, man, this AI sounds like V Malone, bro. I was just thinking, don't this AI sound exactly like Malone? That little waste, man. It sounded exactly like his words. It sounded exactly like him. Because just like how everyone in the music industry used to have to go through Tim Westwood, all the scoffers seem to be linked to this guy somehow or some way, man. Even when you had this Fugazi guy in there, no Fugazi, why the hell was there a comment on one of the videos from this Malone guy? Oh, I'd like to talk to you. I'd like to be on the next show if that's cool. Mate, why are you trying to be on there for? As if you don't know the guy anyway? As if you don't probably know him anyway, man. You probably already knows him. I wouldn't have been surprised. I ain't saying this definitely happened, but I wouldn't even be surprised if he was telling him what to say. Oh, don't answer that question. Yeah, you can answer that question. Don't answer that one. Because they're trying to corner you in and pin you in. Wouldn't be surprised, man. Because he still, to my knowledge, he hasn't actually ended up on their show. But he was on there, though. He was on the comment board, man. But how comes no one just brings him on there to try and hear his doctrine? They only want to hear him talk about how we're not the Israelites. Because he ain't got all the verses that he's got a problem with us bringing out, he ain't even got an answer. Or we ain't, the Edomites saying white people. But if you ask him who they are, he ain't going to say. He still thinks that he's supposed to celebrate Christmas. That's how low level he is. He thinks it's okay to celebrate Christmas. You understand? Let's carry on reading this, man. Who went ambassador? I read that bit already. Let me read verse 12. For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under subjection, and made them wear a hat. You know what I mean? And ain't Israelites right now gassed up over hat, mate? I used to wear the hats, like as in like the new era hat and all of that stuff, right? Which I've still got like a hat like that, I guess. I used to have loads of them, man. Mate, it's not all that to have a hat, man. I used to get a skin fade, but then Yahweh took my hair away, right? And now I have a bald head. You understand? And here's a tip for anyone that's bald, yeah, and you don't like your hair growing too high. Let me give you a tip that I've learned, man. That you don't have to razor blade your head off. That I found out from asking a bald barber, right? I asked the barber that was bald, I was like, what thing did you use? And he told me. It was a simple interaction, man. I used to use the one that I had before, and the empty thing with no guard on there was 0.8 millimeter. I was like, nah, that's not low enough. So then I was like, when I just seen a barber, I said, oh, what thing do you have? Which they were still going off anyway because they cut all their hair off, but they got a tattoo on their whole head, right? That looked like a lower hairstyle. So when they would cut their hair off with a razor, it would look higher. But I didn't want to do that. And I said, oh, what's the lowest? You know what, your barb, what's the lowest you can actually buy? And he said, oh, it's a 0.1 millimeter, which I'm guessing that there's lower than that. But 0.1 was enough. And just go and buy a 0.1 millimeter hair clipper. They're not even expensive. It's like £15, or in US dollars, that would be like $30. Buy that, right? Buy a three-way mirror. A three-way mirror is like, you can buy the clippers and the mirror for probably £40 or like $60, $70, man. And you cut your hair yourself. Because there's no point paying no barber to cut your head bald. Plus, you don't have to wait inside the barbershop with all them demons anyway. And a brother that's got hair could still do the same thing anyway. Because a barber will sometimes get gassed up and get demons on him and want to give you a skin fade when you never asked for one. Or want to start trimming your beard off. Yeah. And then try and charge you for it when you never asked for it. And be like, why didn't you stop me? As if you're supposed to walk out with one side of your beard trimmed and the other side not. But there's ways around the hair thing, man. Just like how there's ways around the hat thing. Just don't wear a hat. Like the scriptures say, if you're talking about the Lord and prophesying about the Lord. But this guy, he was trying to make man wear a hat. He brought the chief young men under subjection and made them wear a hat. You understand? That's in the scriptures, man. Made them wear a hat. So he was gassed up over hats. And when you look up some of them ancient Greek hats, yeah, some of them look like do-rags, man. Verse 13, now such was the height of Greek fashions and increase of heathenish manners. And Jake right now have got heathenish manners in the world and inside of being an Israelite. To the point where people are talking about it's okay to wear a hat. No, it's actually not, though. You notice how no one's getting gassed up. They're not trying to be on trying to wear a meat tree. No, they want it to be a fitted cap with their own personal logo on there because they want to be able to sell something. If they was being real and singing it real out here, that's the reason why you care about the hat so much, because you want to sell your own logo on the hats for your clothing line that you're trying to set up, man. If you're being real. so that you can make even more people wear a hat. Through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest, right? This Jason guy was an ungodly wretch, and he weren't no damn high priest, man. The same thing that was said about a recent person, man, that was trying to say that they are high priest and trying to tell other men to go into retirement. How are you going to go into retirement in the end of days? What kind of ridiculous thing is that? Oh, man, you need to retire. You're too old. Huh? What are you talking about? Is it the kingdom yet? It ain't about retire. Retire what, man? What are you on about? Like, some people ain't got no manners in this world, man. They ain't got no manners. Which, that's what it said in this scripture above, right? Heathenish manners. So they had manners. Some of these people in this world have got manners, but they got the heathen ones, man. Not the Israelite manners that you're supposed to have. But you're supposed to honor the grey and hoary head. Not dishonor it, man. But I digress. Verse 14. That the priest had no courage to serve anymore at the altar. And that's what people are trying to do to us. They want us to just see the world be so wicked that we don't even believe in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua anymore, man. And just be like, you know what? Forget the laws of Yahweh. Let's just dive on this heathen thing. They want all the lusts of the flesh to just be increased in the world so much, right? That all the things that you're trying to fight against, you see them every single day and become overcome with them and ain't got no more fight left in you to believe in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua. That's what the overall goal of this society is in general, man. Just take out all the fight and belief of you even believing you're an Israelite, having hope in the kingdom of heaven to just be drained out of you. That's the goal of this wicked society that we're living in, man. It's demonic, man. But that's the goal of it. To try and stop us from believing in anything righteous, man. Verse 14, that the priests had no courage to serve anymore at the altar, but despising the altar, so they hated it. And neglecting the sacrifice, they ended up hating the laws and despising the sacrifices, man. Hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise after the game of discus called them forth, not setting by the honor of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. So they was like, to hell with that scripture thing and the laws. I'm gonna be on the ways of the Greeks. That's what ended up happening in the past, and that's what they're trying to do again. Oh, it's more fun. Oh, it's more fun being following the heathen way. Just do that. That's what it's even said at the beginning of the book of Maccabees in the first chapter. Since we've started let me read it, man. Let me read it. Watch this. 1 second, man. Salakia. Could have got there faster way than this, but listen to this. First Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 11. In those days there went out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. And that's what that Ringo geezer was saying, that Ringo TV guy. Oh, ever since I've been on this Israelite thing, right, I've noticed that I've started to lose certain business opportunities and all of this and all. Mate, you might get health problems too. You might get health problems. You might get financial problems. You might get relationship problems. You're going to get every kind of problem under the sun. And as you're going through each and every problem, another person that's never faced that problem might not be able to understand the problem that you're going through. Because someone that's always found it easy to make money, they're not going to understand necessarily somebody else going through money problems because they've never experienced that. To them, it's going to seem easy to do that. Just like how somebody going through women problems, somebody that's a Casanova, they ain't going to know anything about women problems because they never had no women problems. Women ain't never gave them no trouble, so they ain't going to understand that. Somebody that's never had family problems, they ain't going to understand family problems when you try and talk to them about it because they ain't never had no family problems. They've only had it smooth sailing. And this is why Yahweh has made his elect pretty much go through all kind of problems, man. So that they can understand and actually not be talking about things that they don't have no experience in. So they can speak and know what they're talking about And that's why we, the Israelites, are going to be the best rulers ever on the earth. Because no heathen ain't going to be able to come and say to us, oh, you don't understand, man. It's hard to keep these laws. No, we do understand. Because we've tried to keep the laws the way you're trying to keep them now. We do understand. And that's what's also going to cause us to be, after the 1,000 years of giving these nations punishments, man. After that, we're going to be the most merciful rulers ever. And people might say, oh, that would never work. You can't just put a nation in captivity for 1,000 of years and then afterwards all's forgiven. No, you can't. Because had Esau, after we went through captivity for 400 years under him, had he have just been like, okay, we did you wrong. This land here is your land, yeah. Go back to it and just build yourself up now. Jake would have forgot about the Atlantic slave trade, and they would have been like, all right, fair enough. It's cool now. It's over. We would have been able to let it go a lot easier anyway. Because we wouldn't have been still in the captivity place. We would have had things to take our mind off of the captivity. We would have been building ourselves up as a nation that would have made our minds get taken off it. But Esau is always scared of revenge for what he did that he knows he deserves justice for. Right? He knows we deserve justice for, that he was never going to try and ever let us go. And still is not yet now, still to this day. Verse 12. So this device pleased them. Will it please Israelites back in the day? Well, to be like, you know what, let's just join them with the heathen. And that's what a lot of these Israelites that are saying, oh, they ain't no Jacob and Esau. Esau is from the so-called white man's Japheth. Mate, what are you on about, Japheth, bro? What are you on about? What are you talking about, man? Like, to really, some of these people out there, and I can't prove this, man. And I know it does say in the scriptures, prove all things, but we can just feel this in our body. I can feel this, man, that people have literally had Esau come up to them privately, right? Don't teach that anymore, yeah? Here's how much money do you want? Okay, do you want it in we can't pay you all in one lump sum, but we can pay you monthly anyway, right? Or we can give you a special card and then you just buy whatever you want off this card, right? But just don't teach that anymore. Oh, but what about my men that teach you? I can't stop what they're gonna say. You're the leader, aren't you? They'll follow whatever you say. Some of these people have did that, man. And I don't understand how you could do that. For Satan to jump on you and to make you go off like how Judas Iscariot did, there's more honor in that than there is for you to just of your own self just be like, man, forget this doctrine. I'm just trying to get Esau pay me some money, man. What kind of honor is that? Where's the honor in that, bro? Like, where's the honor, fam? Crazy, man. Now, some people that have been made to be like that, if they're of the elect, they're still gonna end up having to follow the truth anyway. You can't make yourself not believe. You can't. It's not possible to, man. You're fighting against something unfightable. Verse 13, then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the custom of the heathen. And that gym spirit, man, that gym thing, man, is a hell of a demon, you know, really, anyway. Like, when you start going to the gym and you start really seeing your body change, man, the level of pride that can build is crazy, bro. When you go in the gym and you put some weights underneath you and you just lift them weights up, that gym thing has got a heavy spirit to it, man. Look, in fact, according to this society right now, that's probably the number one way that Jake have been able to get themselves out of poverty in this world, through gym. Boxing, football, powerlifting, NFL, MLB, NBA, track and field, javelin, all these different sports, man. Tennis, anything, any sport. Any sport, that's the main way our Jake's been able to get themselves. But that's one of the ultimate heathen things, man. Them sports. Even though heathen ain't nowhere near as good at them as us. That's the main heathenish thing. That's one of the main heathen pastimes, man. Going out on a Saturday, Sunday, watching sports. which now Jake's took most of the sports over anyway, but that's where most of the heathen pastimes are, man. In fact, most of the heathen pastimes go into the night, singing and dancing, drinking. Jake's been mixed into all of that and mixed and mangled into all of that. Jake will be the DJ. Jake will be the I ain't gonna say bartender. Jake will be the musician that they're listening to most of the songs in the club. All of these heathens, whenever they throw a party, most of the music you've got. I saw a video on the internet the other day. It was some Elam, and they were listening to King Von. You understand? It was an Elam, looked like an Elam wedding, and they were listening to King Von all up in the screen, yo 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 in, fo in, yo yo with all the gang hands and all that in the camera, the women and the men. Now some of them might have been Jake's, but they don't know that they are though. They thought there was Elam. And they were still just on listening to Jake music at a wedding dressed in the Indian attire, man. Because Jake's mixed into all the heathen customs in this world. Verse 15. And made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined himself with the heathen and was sold to do mischief. Now, a brother always goes into this, one of the brothers in the GMS London camp, man, a thing that they actually did where they actually made themselves back to being uncircumcised called epispasm, where they would reattach or re-stretch the foreskin to make it cover over the penis again, so it would look like they are uncircumcised rather than circumcised again, man. That's how much Jake wanted to be joined unto the heathen. Now, just for righteousness' sake and the truth's sake, man, you do not need to be circumcised according to what the scriptures say. Right? Let me show it. Let me show it, man. Let me show it. And that's why it's funny when some of these heathens try and say, oh, y'all say y'all the Israelites, but are you circumcised? I thought according to y'all believe in Romans 2. Romans chapter 2 and verse 25. For circumcision verily profiteth if thou keep the law, but if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. Therefore, if the uncircumcision keep the law, if the uncircumcision keep the righteousness of the law, shall not his uncircumcision be counted for circumcision? So it's not about your physical flesh being circumcised. It's about your mind being circumcised. And the only way how your mind can truly be circumcised anyway is by Yahweh doing it. And when you read Deuteronomy chapter 30, Yahweh is going to circumcise our mind. We can't circumcise our own mind. You can circumcise your own flesh all you want. But based on epispasm, you can uncircumcise your flesh too. So how much worth is that? Now, obviously, it's worth something. Otherwise, Yahweh would have never said to do it. And it's going to be done in the kingdom. But to actually do righteousness is more important than physical things like that. Right? Now, let me go back to I'll go to this, man. Ezekiel 35, because people say, oh, you don't need to talk about who Esau is. Well, yeah, you do. Ezekiel chapter 35 and verse 5, because thou hast had perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time their iniquity had an end. Who's had a perpetual hatred for you? If you believe you're an Israelite, right? Well, it says that the Edomites, it says, this is prophecies concerning Mount Seir, which is talking about Esau. Who's had perpetual hatred for you? Because whoever that is, that's who the Edomites are. Who's always there every corner, every turn to try and bring you down? Did it say Japheth would do that? No, it don't. Or as some of y'all say, Japheth and all that. Mate, nah. It says that Esau was going to have a perpetual hatred for you. Esau, not Elam, not Moab. He says Esau is going to have a perpetual hatred, man. So once you know who Jacob is, well, just based off this alone, you can know who Esau is then. It makes perfect sense to me that Jacob is who he says he is, who we say it is. And then if that's the case, then Esau's whoever hates us the most. And it makes perfect sense that the so-called white race hates you guts, man. They're envious of you. They say it's because of whatever they want to say. No, it's because of envy. Verse 11. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh, I will even do according to thine anger and according to thine envy. So all this black fatigue, that's really envy. Their envy's at the highest point possible. Because now, when they're going outside in the world, they're seeing that Jacob been able to do all the things that they said they couldn't do. They're seeing that Jake's able to get way more money than them off their skills and talent, man, in certain situations. But they thought that we never would be able to do that. So now they're fatigued because their society's crashing, right? And they're seeing Jake that are doing just as good as them, if not better. Because the more they've took away from the open, obvious oppression in the world and tried to do it secretly, they've realized that Jake's able to compete with them. And even when Israelites have got an unfair disadvantage, we still can do better than them. But then they want to blame it. Oh, you're a D-I-E higher, D-I-E higher, D-E-I higher, whatever higher they want to talk about, man. As if that's only so-called black people that are under that, but it's not. But that's the excuses that they make. When they know that it used to be a thing where if the name looks too African American, they throw that resume right in the trash. They know they used to do that. They've said it. But then they want to talk about, I'm based on merit. No, you're not. You're based on nepotism. And I don't care about no nepotism because we Israelites, we're Nepo babies. You know that Nepo baby term? Oh, you're only getting this because of your forefather, who your father is, yeah? We're only getting the kingdom of heaven because, first of all, who our heavenly father is, which is Yahweh Basham, Yahweh Shai, and then of who our earthly forefathers are, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the only reason we were getting this. Yahweh didn't choose because we were more in number than any other people, for we were the fewest of all people, but because he would keep the oath that he swore to our fathers, have he chosen us and gathered us out of the land of Egypt. That's what's happened, man. Concerning the gospel, they have enemies for your sakes, but concerning the election, they are beloved for the Father's sake. The forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, nepotism. We're Nepo babies, man. Good. I mean, I don't shed a tear for that. That's excellent news to my ears. Because in this world, Esau gets all of his kind of thing. Esau gets a benefit of the doubt all the time. If an Israelite and an Edomite are arguing in public, right, and the police show up, they're going to assume that the Israelite's in the wrong most of the time. There might be some times where they ain't going to, but for the most part, they're going to try and make out like that Jake's the wrong, that's in the wrong, man. And all you Jakes out there that you're like, man, y'all ain't got no honor, man. You're saying, oh, don't talk about Esau, when there's prophecies concerning Esau, man. Let's read another one. Isaiah chapter 63 and verse 1. Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra, that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength? I that speak in righteousness might to save. So who's Esau? Now, we got to be fair, because there's some people that look like Esau right now on this earth, and they're not Esau though. They're Jacob, but they look like Esau though. But does that mean that just because you've got a brother that you might love in your heart, there's a brother that people love in their heart and they're like, man, I think he's one of the elect, that you now to try and hurt, to try and soothe his feelings that he might think that he looks like an Edomite or a heathen, that now, oh, we can't teach that no more. No, you still got to teach it, because that person himself was able to overcome it. They accept, I look like an Edomite now, but in the kingdom I might look darker than you. And in their past life, they might have looked darker than you as well. In one of your past lives, you might have looked like an Edomite. That don't mean you are though. In one of our past lives, we might have looked like Jackie Chan, fam. We might have looked like Donnie Yen. We might have looked like Elam in one of our past lives. But we're Israelites in every one of those lives we was anyway. But that's not even a thing to even think about. Because the true way to understand if you're an Israelite is, what do you believe? Do you believe the true doctrine? Yes. Well, the only reason why you can believe it is because you're an Israelite. And even though we say this, you've still got all these scumbag scoffers out there that try and make out like we're teaching only based on skin color. No, we're not. You're the main ones that have made this whole thing about skin color. Black fatigue ain't that a skin color based thing? How comes you don't say unrighteous behavior fatigue? We've got unrighteous behavior fatigue. Because whenever an Edomite gets caught doing the same crimes, whenever you bring race into that. If you look at the comment board on a video where an Edomite's committed a crime, and a comment board of where Israelites, so-called black persons, committed a crime, the comments are completely different, man. They can't help but say, use your suspects, 13% people doing 13% people do. Or what a surprise, I guess it was the basketball people. I guess it was, but you don't ever see a comment, I guess it was golf people, whenever an Edomite commits a crime. You never see a comment like that. Oh, wine and cheese tasting people doing what wine and cheese tasting people do. I guess it was the mayonnaise mafia doing whatever. You know what I mean? We can all come up with a stupid term to try and make things racist if we want to. Mayonnaise man them. You know what I mean? Mayonnaise mafia. We can all come up with a term, man. Why mayo monkey and all that. We can all come up with a term, man. I guess it was the people that smell like wet dog doing a crime. We can all come up with some sayings, man. But we only need to tell the truth. Y'all are Edomites. All the things that you say about us are not even true anyway. All the black this and black that. Those things were never true. We ain't black, man. We've never been black, ever once in our life. But that's the lies that you said we were, but we're not that though. But those are the lies that you liked to teach, man. There's several prophecies in the Bible concerning Edom, but you say, oh, don't talk about them. But there's prophecies concerning Edom, though. Let's get another one. Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea. Don't Idumea need to get a warning that this is going to happen to them then? And upon the people of my curse of judgment. Who are the people of the curse of judgment? Idumea. Who's Idumea? Don't we need to know? So that we can know if the prophecies ever happened? How would we be able to differentiate where people are just getting judged for getting judged, or if this is this prophecy happening? You'd have to know who the people are. Because it's okay when a president of a country says, oh, these people are Amalek. But then when we say it, oh, nah, y'all don't know what you're talking about. Y'all are racist. Y'all are racist. Y'all are racist. But then they ain't racist when they say it, though. And you hear people say stuff like reverse racism. Well, mate, that's reversing what you did on me. Do you know what I mean? If someone try to put you in a German suplex, back in the day, man, you used to have them two wrestlers, man, Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. They used to have some mad wrestling matches, man. Right? Chris Benoit would try and give Kurt Angle a German suplex, and Kurt Angle would somehow flip out of it and hit Kurt Angle's ass, hit Chris Benoit's ass with a German suplex. Kurt Angle would give Chris Benoit a crippler crossface. He'd spin out of it somehow and put him in a reversal and give him an ankle lock, man. Well, Esau put us in something, and if we manage to reverse it and make it come up against him, how is that bad? How is that bad, man? But you people are not prepared to just admit the truth. You hate our guts, and you don't want us to have anything. You don't want us to have. If you could stop us from even having socks, you'd try and do it, man. Y'all want us just naked and you want us spiritually naked and physically. Y'all don't want us to have nothing, man. Y'all don't even want us to be able to cover up our discretion with old newspapers, man. You'll be like, oh, nah, y'all got see, at least y'all got newspaper, though. That's how y'all talk? As if the Israelites in Egypt didn't have property. Oh, y'all are saying y'all are in slavery, but y'all have got jobs. And did the Israelites have things in the land of Goshen? In ancient Egypt? Yes, they did. Were they in captivity? Yeah, they were. Did Pharaoh say that the Israelites was idle and lazy because they were complaining about the captivity? Yeah, he did. He said, you're idle, you're idle. That's why you're complaining. And y'all are doing the same thing now? Y'all call us lazy because we don't want to be in captives. But just wait till you get the chance to be under it, man. What are you going to be saying then? Since it's so easy to overcome, oh, y'all are just bums. Y'all just don't want to work hard. Well, let's see how you can do it. Let's see you manage to come out of the curses then and elevate your life. Let's show us how it's done. That's going to be the challenge. In that 1,000 years that you Edomites and you heathens are under captivity, show us the thing he was telling us to do. Get out from underneath the curse. Oh, y'all ain't got houses and property because y'all are just bums and lazy bums that need to get a job. Okay, show us how you're going to somehow manage to get a job that you're getting paid for, because y'all are going to have jobs for damn sure. But show us how you're going to be getting wages for that job under the curses. Show us how. I look forward to seeing it, man. I look forward to seeing that in the kingdom. Isaiah chapter 34 and verse 6, the sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of the rams, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For you have a sacrifice in Bozrah and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. What's that talking about? I'm saying it's talking about the land of Babylon, the Great America, which is now Esau's land. Right? That's been named as Esau's land now, and therefore it's going to be treated like it's Esau's land. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the wicked, man. And the nation against whom you have in the nation forever. And the land's going to be left to the dragons of the wilderness. All different kind of off to the side animals are going to be living there. Whereas they thought in their mind they were just going to be living it up, doing whatever they wanted, making it great again. That's what they thought, man. And then you've got people that are trying to say, don't talk about Esau. What are you talking about? Verse 8, for the day of Yahweh's vengeance and the year of recompense for it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion. So you're supposed to talk about it. Part of the destruction of Edom is part of the day of the Lord's vengeance, which is the day of the Lord, which is going to happen at the end times. So how can you say don't talk about Esau? How can you say that? You're a liar, man. And you ain't got no honor about you. If you're saying that kind of doctrine, you obviously have either got Satan on you or you've got an Edomite check in your back pocket. You know which one it is. You know which one, man. Now, I'm going to say shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel who are going to believe the truth and not the comfortable lies, man. They're not going to want to hear smooth things and prophesied deceits. Shalom.